Good morning and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to Blues Friday budgeting streams. And this is season 4, and we are looking at preparedness on a budget. Today is also episode 3. Is it 3, 4, something? It's episode something. Episode 3, I think. Yes, it's episode 3. God. It's been a day, people. It's been a day. That's all I can say. Okay, so it's episode 3, and today we are looking about what people generally term as bug out bags or go bags or grab bags or whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of names for them. We're going to look at a few names that might be a little bit more user-friendly. We're going to be looking at names for them that are, you know, and you might actually have one and you don't even realize you've got one. Let's put it that way, okay? And we're going to look at some unusual items that you could probably put in them that you may not have thought would be a good idea and not really thought of as well. We're also going to look at the government guidance on this, the UK's government guidance on this, and what they tell you to have. And we're also going to be looking at what is commonly termed a get-home bag for if you're in the car, to keep in the car or at work, that kind of thing. So, all right, first off, we're going to see who is in chat. Hello, Annie from Urban Homestead, and to Tracy Rosa. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you, and yeah, good evening to Annie, because I know you're in Oz. It's pretty late for you, love. Okay, so first off, okay, I've been racing around like a mad thing running today. We're going to look at the prepare. We're going to look here at the prepare page. There we go. Now, this is the only information they have on any kind of putting stuff together to leave. Which is ridiculous. And the only one that you can find is the car boot winter weather one. There is no guidance. Considering how much fuss they made about all of this stuff, there is no guidance on go bags, which is like, really? So it's all about, for them and all their information, it's all about staying put. There's no, there's no information on being ready to go. So yeah, sorry, I've got things pinging all around me at the minute. Give me a second. Now, Tony is around somewhere. He may be here, he may not be. He's only just woken up, so I'm hoping that he will be here. He may not be, so we'll just see how we go. Give me a second. I've just had a message from him, so I just want to see what that is all about very quickly. Sorry, I know this is so unprofessional. So unprofessional today, let me tell you. But, you know, life happens. No, that's the link for tonight. Okay, right. Oh, look at that. Ask and it shall, ta-da. Hello. How you feeling? Are you feeling better? Are you awake? Have you had coffee? Did you have your, did Patty, you know?
I have coffee.
You've got a drip. Yeah, they did drip feed.
I need one this morning.
Bless you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm all kinds of scatty-brained all over the place right now.
All right.
Ashley is in the house. Hello, Ashley, darling. How are you? And he says, yes, it's 11:37 p.m., but I love your lives and love supporting your channel. Annie.
Hello.
Thank you. Right. So we got as far as having a look at the government guidance. The government guidance says absolutely diddly squat about go bags. It's all their information is about staying in and bugging, what is known as bugging in, right? But and the only thing they have on any kind of go bag situation is having a bit of stuff in your car. If the weather's bad, like a torch. Now on the weekend,
you know what? Just me being me.
Yeah.
All this information may change because you have a new government now. So.
Well, this is absolutely true. You know, we do. I very much doubt it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's all I was trying to do. So.
I am, yeah, still trying to process right now what I witnessed.
I bet you are.
So, oh God.
That's a whole nother conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's just put it this way. I am really pleased that I've just got 2 massive new shelves to use as a pantry. That's all I'm saying about this situation.
We have priorities, right?
We have priorities. So, yeah. And this whole series, please take it seriously because you may need this information. Yes. That's all I'm saying.
Take a deep breath. We move on.
I'm gonna start crying. Okay, no. Hey, AR Patriot, how you doing, sweetheart? So,
hello.
Yeah, okay. But to get back on the subject, let's get on the subject. Okay. All right. So the subject is what people term as bug out bags. When my kids were younger, they were called grab bags. We just had grab bags by the front door. Right. And I had one for every one of my kids. Now, when I say every one of my kids, I have 2 children, but I had 72 foster children in 10 years. At one point, I had 16 children in my house, plus we 2 adults. Okay, so every person in the house had a grab bag, and it was just so that it was easy to grab stuff. I've seen it. I'm ignoring it right now.
I will admit, as much as I'm trying to be serious with this, that's funny what he just put up.
It is funny. Well done, Ashley.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, as I was saying, we used to have a bag for if we needed to take the kids out for the day, or if we had, you know, I just had stuff prepared in bags for them, ready to go.
Right.
You know, so, and it was just easier. I mean, if you're a parent and you've had a baby, you know that bag that you call a nappy bag? That's the baby's go bag. Mm-hmm. Can I just say? Because I don't think there's a parent here that hasn't put 3 or 4 changes of clothes, 300 nappies that you can fit in there, a gazillion whatever else's, and enough food for that baby for at least a week, you know, without even thinking on anything else. And you've got all of the other stuff in there as well. It's packed to the point where the zip won't shut, which is why we started having flat ones with buttons and things.
Right.
So, you know, that's the baby's go bag. You know, that's you think about your mindset when you're packing that baby's bag, right? there's always a just in case involved. What if I'm too like? What if the baby has a spate of the poops while we're out? What if the baby gets car sick? What if, we end up staying overnight at our friend's house or whatever? What if? And you're always thinking that what if when you're packing that bag. And you make sure that even if you have a few made up bottles, if you're not, feeding your baby yourself, or you have those in spare anyway, that you have some form of milk or sterilized bottles or something available anyway, just in case. And they're always in there. You might even have packed up the kids' the basic Calpol, Nurofen type ibuprofen kids stuff.
Right.
And one of those little strippy thermometers that goes across the forehead just in case, because you know what kids are out like. They're 100% great, and then all of a sudden you'll be out shopping and they'll be projectile vomiting like the Exorcist while you're there, not giving you any sign that that's going to happen. So you've got to have all the stuff just in case. It's the same with anyone's grab bag. It's the same with anything. The basic rules for a bug out bag or a go bag or whatever you want to call it is that you have 72 hours supplies in it. Okay. Now, one site has said that you want to use the survival rules of 3 in the first 4 categories of putting a bag together. Air, you can survive for 3 minutes without air. Shelter, you can survive for 3 hours without shelter in a harsh environment. Water, you can survive for 3 days without water. And food, you can survive 3 weeks without food. Actually, if you have water, you can survive quite a long time without food.
Yeah.
And it's been proven time and time again. But that's not what the recommendation is. The point is that, and I get what they're saying with the whole 3 weeks thing. Don't forget the furry family. Absolutely not. You don't forget them either. So then the remaining 8 categories to cover are clothing, defense, heat and warmth, lighting, first aid, navigation tools, multi-purpose tools, and miscellaneous. Right? Okay. So basically, it's making sure that you've got what you need for 72 hours.
Right.
If you had to leave your home in an emergency situation. 9 times out of 10, we kind of think whether that's a natural disaster or whether that's a man-made thing, whatever happens, and you have to leave your home, you need to have that kind of supplies on you. And we're going to look at, like I've just explained with the basics of the mental capacity of this. You look at it like you would a nappy bag for a baby, and go, right, so what if? So it's the same if you're going to go and visit a mate and you know that there might be a possibility of having to stay over. You don't not take something with you as supplies.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you do that because you never know if you guys decide, oh, well, it's like tea time or it's dinner time or whatever. Do you guys want to stay for dinner? You crack open a bottle of wine. You're not going to drive home.
Right.
You're not going to drive home, people. I'm just saying.
Don't point at me.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying anyone watching this, you're not driving home. So you always make sure you got spare supplies. It's a simple. Yes, there are people who fly by the seat of their pants, and I get that, and we probably did that when we were 20 years old. Okay? It didn't matter if we went out on Thursday. We rocked home on the Sunday doing the walk of shame in Thursday's clothes.
Right.
It's how it went down, and we're not going to lie about that. But that was a little bit of a different situation.
I agree.
But, this is a different mindset as well. And the mindset is, what would I need for 72 hours? So then you think about, right, what would my baby need? What would my kids need? What would the people in my house need for 72 hours to survive? Oh, good grief. Sorry, I'm going to have to put this on Do Not Disturb. I'm getting all sorts of notifications. Bing, bing, bing. Okay.
I think that the honesty and the truth of the matter is your 72 hours is different than my 72 hours, different
Absolutely.
than my kids, different than my mom's.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I have a list, but it's really for more than 72 hours in all honesty, because those 8 categories really hit the necessity for 72 hours.
Yes.
They do.
They do.
Other than animals, that's one thing that, you know, we don't want to forget. But your medicines are, I mean, to me, that's a priority. I mean, you gotta
absolutely.
have, you know, so you're not going to, typically, you're not going to forget. I got a mosquito trying to land.
That's okay. But see, the kids' bags are going to be very different to the adults' bags.
They are, yes.
And it's quite possible that there will be individual adults' bags and a family bag.
Yes.
You know, obviously, you got to think about when we said last week, what can you carry?
Right.
You know, that's what we spoke about last week. Be realistic about what you can actually lift, what you can carry.
Right.
Because you may not be able to use the car.
And you may not, you don't know.
You may not. You may not be able to use a vehicle. You may not have any transport at all. So you're going to have to be able to carry the necessities. Right. Yes, Tracy, absolutely right. Important papers, credit cards, cash money.
Yep.
Always really important to have cash money around the place, because if it's a situation where the electric's out, or, you know, say for a grid down situation, which could be done because a storm's gone through, a tornado's gone through, flooding, whatever. It doesn't have to be a man-made grid down situation. I know that sounds like a very, very scary thing, but anything can cause the electrics to go out. Mm-hmm. And then what are you going to do? You know,
and then the common thread that follows that is, if the electric is out for people that aren't using separate resources from electric, your power goes out, then your heating goes out, your refrigeration goes out.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
It's more than just your electric going out. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's like, you know, if the electric's out and you have to leave the house, it doesn't matter whether the fridge is working or not.
No.
You know, what matters is whether you have access to the things that you may need electric for. So are you going to have spare battery packs for mobile phones, other electronics, you know?
I think when you get to that point, you need to be cautious about what is a priority, which maybe we'll address that somewhere along the line, which I know we got a lot that's in the series. Yeah. But what my thing is, and we're just talking a natural disaster. You go back to when Texas was on a blackout for 2 weeks. I think it was actually some cases it was a month to 6 weeks. Yeah. Refrigerator units are not going to be your priority. It's not about refrigerating food. That's done and over with. You're not going to be able to facilitate that. So you might as well not put that even in your list if that type of situation happens. And you know, they're already telling you it's going to be at least 72 to X, Y, and Z hours before we can even get to where you guys are at. That can't be your priority anymore.
No, absolutely not. I mean, like I've been in bushfire situations and flood situations where, you know, and even earthquake situations where we haven't had electric for 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
You know, it's not going to happen.
No.
You know, we had to literally wade waist deep to get to the local somewhere to get bread. And they were doing a drop off at the gas station that was on the main road. And we still had to walk nearly 1 kilometer to that gas station in waist deep water in Australia, where you have to worry about things like that will eat you in the water. You know, Not to mention that if you have got a flooding situation like that, most of the water treatment plants are out. So they've overflowed. And we used to have one probably about 5 clicks down from us. So you've got, it's not pleasant.
Stuff floating around.
You've got things floating. You've got to look at that branch that's floating past you and see if it's actually going to start eating your leg. There's things like that, and you've got to take those chances and say, right, okay, so is that bread more important than my legs? Do you know what I mean?
It's all about priority. But I think
Absolutely.
Where you were hitting, I mean, as far as just a 3-day bag, one thing I definitely want to throw in there, and it was my number 3, but it was a separate number 3, is entertainment for kids. Don't forget the puzzles, the coloring books, the crayons, drawing paper, markers, things that are going to keep them occupied in those downtimes.
Yeah.
When you can't be sitting right there with them, give them something to do that's not electronic, doesn't require a lot of attention or help with.
Absolutely. I honestly don't encourage the use of electronics when you're going on car rides, especially long ones, because kids need to get used to the fact that they can't always have access to that. And the general, availability of battery chargers and stuff in cars and things, well, it stops the car from working at its full capacity, number one, because you're sucking all of the electrics out to the tablets and the phones and all of the things. When the car could be going a lot faster than it was, we're working a lot better than it is already doing. But also I think kids need to have that time when it's like, actually, no, if we're in the car, there's no electronics. And the reason we don't have electronics is because it can actually stop the driver from doing their job properly, which is keeping us safe.
Right.
Because if you get very excited about something, or you start screaming about something, or anything like that, you're going to end up in a situation where the driver is concerned about you and not what's going on the front of the road, especially in a high stress situation.
Right.
So if kids get used to doing that when they're in the car under normal circumstances, they won't think twice about not having electronics in a more stressful situation. It won't be as much as of a thing. Do you know what I mean? So I always made sure that my kids didn't have that, because it was just more. I mean, my kids didn't have electronics till they were like 16 anyway. So it was like, it was neither here nor there. And my son's first phone was, it was a phone. I think it had Snake on it. But you couldn't do like anything else. It was just phone, text, Snake. That was it.
Right.
So it was for ringing me if he was going to be late coming home from school or something like that, so I knew what was going on. That was the only reason.
Right.
But yeah, we're digressing.
I think the importance to remember about, which is back to what your topic is the bag. It's all about the bag.
All about the bag.
I think the determination as to what we're talking about really needs to be, are we talking 3 days? Are we talking 2 weeks? Are we talking 2 months? All those types of bags are going to be different. And again, you still got to be able to carry it regardless of what it is.
Absolutely. And if you can't carry it, then you can't carry it. But the general rule of thumb is that a bug out bag is only, or a go bag. I used to call them adventure bags.
Right.
For the kids. Because I didn't want them to have that air of fear to them. Right. So they got called adventure bags. Right, get your adventure bags. We're going out. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
they already knew what it was, and they grabbed it.
They knew where they were. They went and grabbed them. That was it. That was all good. And so that's all they had to do. And they were allowed to take one thing. They were allowed to take one personal item and their favorite softie. They had to wear the coat. That was the only other thing, unless it was midsummer, and then their coat went through their bag. So wherever the handle was on the top of the bag, we used to put the coats through that.
Yes.
You
could do a pillow that way too.
You can do a pillow that way.
Cases,
if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Ashley over here is saying identification. Tracy is saying a suitcase on wheels. A suitcase on wheels is fine if you've got transport.
Right.
Okay.
You're not going to be dragging that through the woods.
You're not going to want to drag that cross country or drag that. You know, you're not going to be able to move as fast as if you're wearing something on your back.
Right.
Even with my back the way it is, I would still wear mine on my back if I could.
Right.
If I could get away with it, I would do that. Yeah.
I think in some cases, in some situations, that might be the better way to go. But I think for general population, I think the backpack is a better idea.
To be unfair, you know what I mean? She is quite right. You know what I mean? You can get these small little rolling cases now. You know what I mean? They come in all sizes. It depends what size she's talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking the same size as a backpack. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Like a carry-on.
Like a carry-on where you can pick it up in your hand and walk away with it. You know what I mean? It doesn't think, yes, quite, you can get a lot,
Yeah.
You can probably get more in than you can in the backpack because you know yourself the backpacks, they're awkward. One of the awkwardest things to actually pack.
Yeah, but does it have to be a backpack? See, right, okay, so here's my take on this, right?
Can you excuse me for a minute, please?
Yeah, sure. I don't want my backpack or my go bag or whatever to draw attention to itself. I don't want to look like a backpacker who's picking fruit for the next 2 months over summer. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to look like I've got all of the things. I just want it to look like an everyday pack, like an everyday backpack that you would go to school with or whatever.
See, that's why I agree to disagree on that part. That's why I think it's because if you're packing stuff in, you know what I mean, for 72 hours, that backpack's going to be full. Yeah. But a normal backpack is where people carry backpacks, you know what I mean? Just normal general day, you know what I mean? They're half empty. You know what I mean? There's basically nothing in it. This is where I'm saying, you know what I mean? This is where I look at that point, you know what I mean? This way it stinks.
Yeah.
But when you're accumulating for 72 hours, that backpack will be full. You know what I mean? Because you've got everything in there to survive.
Well, yeah, you've got, and we will go through what you have to, what is suggested to be in there. No, that one can go away. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of things, but I think also there's a lot of overkill when it comes to these kinds of bags and things as well. I think if you look at it, you know, if you had what is suggested in everyone's bags, in everybody's bag,
you'd have a house.
Yeah, it would be ridiculous. It would be absolutely ridiculous. I think yes, you don't want to have all of one thing in one person's stuff. You know, if there's a small group of you, like, you know, if you and the kids and all of that kind of stuff, if we had us two, our kids, all of that sort of stuff, and everyone had everything that is suggested to be in a go bag from the prepper peoples and stuff, I think A, it'd be ridiculous, and B,
I totally agree with you.
You know, it would just be ridiculous. I mean, it does spiral out of proportion, and I think there's certain things for, you know, but I also think if there is, like, say for example with Tony, there would be you, there would be your wife, there would be your mum, there would be your kids, there would possibly be your sister. You know, you don't also want to put all the food in one person's pack. Or all the medical stuff in somebody else's pack.
And
stuff like that.
Backpacks are universal anyway, so basically you could have like So if you were going on for 72 hours, you would have a backpack, one small backpack as first aid. The other backpack would be.
But that's what I was just saying. You wouldn't want to have a backpack that is just first aid. Because if you did that and there was a group of you, I mean, it's different if it's just you and me. If there's a group of you, you want to split that first aid between, say, 3 or 4 of you, rather than just having one bag. Because otherwise you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and if you do that and it gets lost, you're kind of stuffed.
You're not getting adjusted. You're carrying the first aid because you're the first aider, and then you're carrying everything else, and I'm carrying nothing. So that's fine. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, all right. Play your game. Shut up. Right. Okay.
I think really it you need to come down to a person needs to, not you. I didn't mean it that way. But a person needs to come down to, are you talking about 3 days? Talking longer? Are you talking like extra longer than that? Yeah. It's going to determine what you're taking with you. Again, always, regardless, can I carry it? Can I pack it? Do we have a means to get it around? Okay.
Yeah.
That's also going to be determined by whether you have transportation or not.
This is absolutely right. This is very, very true. And that's important.
Sorry. I think your priorities change depending on each situation. You know?
Absolutely. And it depends on each situation. It depends on which people are in your home and what their needs are. Now, if you're...
Because you are right. I mean, I already know if it's us leaving and my sister's here, that's 6 different bags I got to figure out and make sure that are covered.
Yeah.
Before I even walk out the door.
Yeah.
That's not including food.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah. But are you going to put all the food in one bag, or are you going to split it between people?
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, me and Patty, just like you said, you and Tanny, I get that. You're probably going to get a bigger bag and both your stuff's going to go in it.
Yeah.
As long as you can carry it. But my kids are going to be different than my mom, different than my sister. They're not going to be the same thing. So each person respectfully is going to have their own, depending on what it is you're doing for them. So sit here and if you put it off and wait till the last minute, that's where your problem is going to be. That's what we're trying to say. Ultimately, that is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, this is the other thing. All I'm trying to do is get people to see the mindset. Okay. Right. So, ladies, if you've had children and you've had them in the hospital, you have a hospital bag. And I can guarantee you've put enough stuff in there for 2-3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
For both you and the baby without even thinking about it.
Yep.
Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. You might be staying there for 12 hours, but you've got enough stuff in there for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Absolutely guarantee it. That's the mentality.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. That's trying to get people to see that for these bags for if you have to leave your home in an emergency. Now, when it comes down to taking
I'm still here. I'm still here. I just have to mute us for a second.
That's okay. So if it comes down to taking the heavy stuff, so let's have a look at some of the essentials that you might be having to look at taking with you, right? So first off, these guys have put okay, I think that one's a bit heavy. That's I think that one's a bit heavy, to be fair. I mean, we're just looking at basic run-of-the-mill stuff, but if you did have a situation, if you do live in an area that is prone to bushfires, having some kind of air filtration is really important. Because if you have to leave your home, you don't want to get that you don't want to be breathing that in. Trust me, you don't want to be breathing that in. So having some kind of air filtration is pretty important. And you can get it, and you can have a look at it on, you know, Army Surplus and places like that. You know, prepper shops have them.
They are
not part of the fashion industry. You can get pink ones if you must have a colored one. Yeah. You can, you know, you can decorate it however you like if that's what you must do. But it's not something that is high on my list of things to get anymore. But it is something that we had when we lived in Australia because of the risk of bushfires that happened 2 or 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy says I still send to overpack. Not always a good thing.
But at least you have the mentality of what to make sure what's in there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing they're looking at is shelter. So you're looking at things like tents, blanket, a sleeping bag, possibly a space blanket. Actually, space blankets are really good. You can get like a pack of 10 of those things, and they're like a couple of bucks.
Right.
You know, and they're really, really good. Like if you've got a situation where someone's gone into shock, or, you know, the temperature's dropped or whatever, or the temperature's risen.
Right.
Because if you flip them over, okay, so they've got 2 sides on them, and there is slightly one. If you use them on one side, it actually warms you up, and on the other side, it cools you off because it reflects the heat. So they've got a gold side and a silver side, and they work in different ways, okay, but they work really, really well, and it's a cheap little thing, and it's kept in a little packet like that big. I don't have any here to show you at the moment, but they're about that big. They're flat, like that flat, so they're not going to take up much room. So and they don't cost very much. Water filtration system, or a bottled water or bladder. Water filtration system is actually quite important because if you're in a situation where there's flooding and stuff, they will shut the water off. And if you don't have enough room to be carrying 30 litres of water per person, and you can't carry 30 litres of water per person, you know, have you? What? There we go. There you go. That's the American one. But I'm just saying, it's pretty much the same price over here as well.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same price, same thing, and you get free delivery from Prime, and it's next day delivery over here. But there are other places you can get them from as well. Okay.
But it's 10 packs, a pack of 10 for $13. And
yeah, it's like a bucket.
They're that big. So
yeah, they're tight. Yeah, but they do stretch out quite a lot. And if you don't have an actual blanket, they actually work really, really well. Right. Trust me. You know, I've been to festivals where I've forgotten to take a sleeping bag, and I was away from home for 2 weeks, and all I had was one of those, and it saved me. Not gonna lie. So, you know, that's the kind of thing you're looking at. Right. So yeah, water filtrations, things like life straws. You know, there are other you can get water treatment tablets, which are pretty gross, makes the water taste pretty gross, but you know, they do the job. They keep forever, and they're also very, very cheap. There is actually a system that I've seen that I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got far too excited over, and I'm just gonna see if I can find it. Because there's also something. Yeah, it is. It's this. Yeah, it's this. Okay, so I just want to see if I can find a proper. Oh, stop it! I want a proper picture that isn't taken up by head thingies and stuff. Okay, hang on a second. Let's see if I can get this to do. All right. Okay, now I am not affiliated to these people. I am not sponsored by them at all, but this bag is actually quite amazing. Right, so it's one that you can put on your back as a backpack, right? You put the water in there and you do all of the filtery things with it, and it will literally turn a bag that looks like that into clear water. It gives you the opportunity down below to pour off the impurities, and you have clear water, drinkable clear water. That's the adventure pack, right? So like I said, I want to see if I can find their yeah, okay, so we'll just use this because they had some proper pictures and I don't know where they're gone. Anyway, so basically you fill up the bag there, you add the stuff to it, you leave it for a minute, it shakes up for 5 minutes, you hang it, all of that stuff goes there, you tie off that bit and you get rid of all the impurities and you've got drinkable water. Now, these are actually reusable. Shared to Instagram. Okay. Yeah, these are really cool. They are bloody expensive, though. I'm not going to lie. But if you're looking for something that is, you know, the best you can get, then I would be looking at something like that.
Right.
You know, but if you can't, life straws are pretty cheap. You can grab them off Amazon pretty cheap. You can grab them off anywhere pretty cheap, and you can drink out of a puddle with one of them. And I've done it. So I can tell you it's a thing because I tried it and it does work. So yeah, life straws are a thing.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's water. But yeah, per person, per day. Okay, so the government guidance is like 2.5 liters per person per day. That is a load of BS. I mean, that is enough to survive on. 2.5 liters of water per day per person, but that's only enough to drink.
Right.
It's not enough to cook with.
You're not doing your laundry with that.
You're not doing your laundry with that. You are not doing cooking with that. You're not doing anything else with that. That is just purely drinking. Mm-hmm. If you are looking to actually properly have enough water for each person, you're looking at about 5 to 10 liters per person, especially children. Because where you can survive 3 days without water, they can't. And if you've got a baby that needs feeding, you know, liquid foods, you're going to need that water to make their bottles up and do all of that kind of stuff, and then boil their bottles and, you know, all of the kind of sterilization that's going to have to happen along the way. So, you know, you're going to have to look at that as a situation as well. Yep. Okay, so food is next. So you now it's all very well having lots and lots of lovely preserved things in your cupboards and your pantries and all of that kind of stuff, but you're going to carry them 3 days worth of jars or tin food? Yeah. I personally don't think I would be.
No,
I wouldn't do it. If I didn't have transport, I wouldn't be doing it. Because
and even at that, you're still going to limit what the amount is.
Yeah, exactly. You're only going to be able to. Oh. Hiccup. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So, yeah. It's great to think, oh, yeah, I've got enough food for this amount of time, but am I going to actually be able to take it with me? So I am a big supporter of having quite an extensive dry store. Because that stuff can be put down in Mylar bags and you can just take your Mylar bags, you know, of what you need, of whatever dried food you can do. Yes, you can get ration packs. Yes, you can get MREs. You can get all of those. MREs are pretty hit and miss. All you have to do is go and watch Ration Nerd to find that out. And can I just say, go and watch him. He's brilliant. He's absolutely awesome and deserves far more subscribers than he has.
Jeez.
You know, so yeah, it is a fancy glass. So yeah, you need to think about your food, but you're also not going to be able to be carrying 30 different packets of cereals for the kids. You know, you're probably going to be able to take a couple of Mylar bags that have already got like a kilo of oats or something in them. It's probably a good idea to do that. You know, or have some that's been pulverized down into some kind of oat flour or something like that, you know, and do it that way. But you're not going to be able to take the Cheerios and the Cocoa Pops and the Fruity Pebbles and all other things, you know, because you're just not going to be able to do it, you know. And they're not a great thing to actually have on your storage, your long-term storage either, because they don't have a very long shelf life. Even if they're not open, they got a very short, you know, shelf life.
Tracy, that is a problem.
Yeah, Tracy, that's a problem. Hey, so when I started recollecting my cast iron, which I've done very, very recently, I've tried to make sure that the cast iron that I've got has more than one use. So the Dutch oven I bought, the lid for it is actually a fry pan.
And that's great.
Because that's 2-in-1. As far as I'm concerned, that's 2-in-1. That's going to do everything that I'm ever going to need.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't feel bad about that. And I, in that, can pack other things. You know?
That's
other
great.
kitchen things, you know, that are important. So I think looking at the cast iron that is useful and has more than one use is really... She said, that's what I'm taking. Yeah. It's your Dutch oven that has a fry pan for a lid. That's what you're taking. So, yeah. So the other option is to take things that can help you to hunt for food. If that's the way it goes.
But again, I mean, we are talking in differences, and I want to keep everybody's mind on that. 3 days, you're usually not going to go out and hunt for food.
No.
More than 3 days, you have to be prepared to do that. You know, so you got to plan that out in thought process.
And it could be as small as having a fishing reel, like just a hand fishing line and a couple of hooks. It could be that simple.
Telescopic rod.
I have an ad that I want to throw into this because of what you just said. Okay.
Yeah.
You said fishing line. Okay.
Yeah.
I think one thing not to forget is a mending kit of some sort.
Yes, mending kit. Absolutely.
You don't know what you're going to need it for, the multiple uses that has, the ability to manipulate it to fix something or use it for something, or have a fishing line in there for emergency fishing needs if you need to. I think it in thought process to me is one of the smartest things to not forget in this kit, regardless of how many days you're talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, because you never know. I mean, like, it's already kind of at that point where you have to feel like you need to take your little buggy and go somewhere that is not your home. It does already say that things are not great and you need to be ready for anything. And if that will mean a mending kit. The reason that I say fishing line is that if you don't have a full first aid kit that includes things like sutures and stuff, and someone gets a really big gash on them, you can sew them up.
And I would encourage anybody to get a little bit of fishing line and throw it into their mending kit. for that reason specifically. And if you don't use it, then you got fishing line to go fishing with.
Absolutely, you do. You know,
I wouldn't emergency basis. I get that it might be different, but I wouldn't use the fishing line you use to go fishing to suture somebody. Just throwing that out there.
No. If you've gone fishing with it, you need to cut off the bit that you've gone fishing with. You want to get the bit that hasn't been gone fishing with, and you're going to get your sterilized wipes out. And if you don't have sterilized wipes, then you're going to cut off a piece that's about 1 meter or a yard long, and you're going to put that in the pot of water you are boiling to make your coffee with. Okay, so that it is clean and sterilized, because it'll be clean and sterilized enough for you to drink your coffee, because you really don't care that it actually might taste a little bit, but at least that piece of line is going to be clean, and then you can, you know, do what you have to do. Can you tell I'm an Aussie all of a sudden? I've gone bush. Right.
Hey, it's okay, my
bush. Right. So, as Honey also said, you can get telescopic rods as well.
Sorry.
Also, as well, do you know the fishing line?
Yeah.
Can you use that for yourself, people?
Well, I don't know, but I think I'll have a roll of gaffer tape in mine. You know, because it might silence someone. But yeah, no, the fishing line actually that has the wire in it, can I just say that that's actually a really good thing? Because if you actually need to make things like, a snare for catching.
Can I tell you from a fishing experience, which is its intended use, it's awesome fishing line.
Oh, it's great. But we've got it in the greenhouse.
Do you?
No,
well, we will have it we've bought some to go in the greenhouse for permanent lyres. Yeah, sea fishing wire we've done. Yeah, so it's braided, so it will hold up our tomatoes and things permanently.
It's wonderful.
It's great stuff. Yeah. Right, so we've gone through that. Clothing, cold weather gloves, waterproof jacket, change of clothes, and headgear. Pretty much.
Pocket warmers are inexpensive. You can, well, they're not inexpensive, but they're not as much as they used to be. You can usually get them in packs of 3, 5, 10, whatever. And they're small enough that you can carry them for heating needs of your hands and feet, because those extremities get cold. You got issues. So. Oh,
absolutely. The other thing is I would suggest to you, we will get to that, Annie, definitely. And also Tracy, we will get to those. Extra socks. Make sure that you have extra socks. And if it's in the middle of winter and it's somewhere where it snows, have some rugby socks.
What are rugby socks? Other than what my brain's telling me. Sorry.
It's exactly what your brain is telling you. They are socks for playing rugby in.
Okay.
They will fit over the average shoe and boot over the top. So if it is icy or snowy, they will work like a snowshoe and keep you upright, because what happens is, because they've got the floof on them, they pick up small bits of ice, which actually makes you grab to the ice and snow.
Right.
Make sure that you've got those, because can I just tell you, they saved our lives. Back in 2012, winter of 2011, 2012, when it absolutely dumped. And where we lived was on a hill like that, and work was down here, and we lived up here. And it was 3 feet in snow, and there were still people wearing high heels trying to get down that hill.
Oh, my Lord. Really?
Yeah. But then me and my friend were, my boss, she and I put our rugby socks over our boots, strolling off downhill.
That is so cool.
You know, and there's these women in these high heels that are going sliding. I mean, it looked great. Don't get me wrong, but I was quite happy that I was stayed upright.
But so the assumption is in that type of information is that there's dual use. It can keep you warm, but it also can be used for traction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to do. I got to take a break again. Sorry.
It's fine. It's all good. You do what you got to do. Hey, Devil Dog Proud, good to see you, mate. Awesome. So the next thing we're going to get to is matches and fire starters. Now, I have a link here of a thing. All right. Now, this is the most amazing thing that I've ever seen, right? So I'm going to actually share this screen with you guys so you will know what you're looking at. Okay. Pull string fire starter. Now, these are absolutely incredible. Okay. Now, I saw a video on these and I was like, what? Basically, and they are expensive. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this link here, it shows you that it's basically $40 for 4. But it lights wet wood. There are no matches. It burns for 30 minutes and it's wind and rain proof. So in any kind of really major situation, this would be the thing to have, right? So
I'm getting some.
Yeah, these are amazing. So they basically, right? So all you do is you attach it to your wood, whatever you put your wood there. You don't even need kindling because this thing goes for 30 minutes. Put it where you can get it. Keep your hand off it when you're pulling the string. And then you end up with, it just goes off and starts the fire. But that's going to burn now for 30 minutes. And if that wood's wet, that burning is enough to get that wood to dry out a bit, enough to actually catch. So it's definitely worth the money. They are incredibly expensive, but it is something that I am definitely going to have in my emergency kit, because trying to get dry wood in this country, seriously?
Well, I won't tell you what I can do, so we'll just leave it at that.
You know, yeah, it's almost impossible to find dry wood here, even just for home use, because the country is so damp, and especially at the moment, you know, it's barely stopped raining since November last year, you know, so trying to find dry wood is going to be almost impossible, but this gives you the option if you can't find it. So there you go.
I'm not going to say a word.
No? You're good with that?
I live, the nickname of my state is the Evergreen State. I have trees everywhere.
Absolutely, but they're not necessarily dry wood.
Oh, no. The way we live up here, you have dry wood even if you don't have a fireplace.
Oh, okay. But it's
again,
also
I'm not sitting in the UK with the same issue. So I mean, don't misunderstand. No. I'm not rubbing in your face, even though I was a little bit.
Yeah, you are. You know it.
but that goes to prove the point we've been trying to say. Geographical location does determine how you're going to be able to function in these situations. So,
well, absolutely not. I mean, and you could be in the driest place on earth. It just happens to be raining cats and dogs that way. You know, so your chances of getting dry wood just might not be the best. So, you know, having something that will do something like that is a really, really good idea, right? So then you've got to look at lighting. Torches, flashlights, whatever you want to call them, they're always a good idea. Having the ones that wind up, they're great. You don't have to worry about batteries then.
The other thing I would also throw out, if you don't or can't get those ones, and please don't misunderstand me, and I'm not going into another conversation about this, but I'm going to tell you what my feeling is, okay?
Yeah.
At least here in the U.S., you can walk up to the gas station up here, and they actually have, and you know what it's for, and I know what it's for, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about it, but they have little mini torches. They're about this big, used for something else, but for what we're talking about, that kind of lighter is the best thing to have because it will burn that while it's lighting it instead of just sitting there trying to light it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. See, it's actually a really good idea having a lighter with a torch on it because it will. That's two things in one.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
You know, and I've had those quite a lot, like those little ones. But you know, obviously having a proper torch is a really good idea. My sister and I don't know where mine is. It's somewhere, but we found these when we went to a local nursery a few years ago. She has a pink one. I have a blue one. They're little piggy torches.
Is that cute? Oh.
It's not even a wind up, right? All you do is that. It's a pump action one. Yeah.
Excuse me, young lady. That's inappropriate, don't you think?
It shines the light out of its snout. They're brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic. And can I just say, if you're in a situation like this with kids, that right there will keep them occupied for ages.
Don't let the kids sit there and play with it by themselves, though, might I say.
No, because they'll drive you insane with it. Because they'll keep going, oh, look, it's a noise. And it's like,
we don't need them lighting their little brother's pajamas on fire, okay?
No. Devil Dog's driving and listening, so hello to everyone. Hello.
Oh.
Okay, so headlamp. A headlamp is always a fun idea.
Can I throw one other comment
in?
Tracy's comment about worth the money. You need to be very conscious of what you're spending new money on new items. But again, I agree with her on the product she was talking about.
Yeah.
You need to make a priority. What is a priority? Do I need to go out and buy 10 bundles of wood that's dry just so I have dry wood? No, we're not saying that. That is not what we're saying. Okay.
No.
Do you spend the money to get a fire starter that is going to start regardless of what the situation is? That's a whole different conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's so yes, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, but you have to be diligent on what it is you're talking about as to what is a priority and worth the money. Because if it's going to sit in a backpack and never be used and then it deteriorates over time, that's a waste of money for you.
Oh, absolutely. So. Absolutely. So, yeah, it's looking at that as well.
Yeah.
Right. So then you've got things like chem lights, was a chemical grade light stick, can last up to 12 hours. They're typically visible from up to a mile away.
Okay. I was going to say, what's the difference between that and a glow stick? But I mean, that makes a difference.
That's the difference. Okay. So they're really good for signaling and stuff like that. That's basically, you know, a handheld flare, if you will. Mm-hmm. Okay. And they will, they will keep going for 12 hours. That's great.
Okay.
That's great if you're in a situation where you need that kind of assistance. That's probably a really good thing. Yeah, Annie, it's research. Absolutely.
100% agree with
100%.
that. 100%. Yeah.
Okay, so your first aid kit. Now, this is a very, very basic list, but we're looking at a 72-hour period. And we all know that when life happens, anything can happen. So, you know, the basic list is going to be enough. So what I'll do, I will share this.
Can I just tell you why I'm laughing hysterically within my mind here?
Why?
Because I was going to say med kit. Don't forget to tell people about pads. I think pads are important, feminine pads, because they will help in large cuts, large injuries, things like that. And then you turned around and said for a 72-hour period. That's sorry. Okay. I was being a guy. I apologize. So
the other thing to have also in your kit, not only the pads, but to have tampons. And I'll tell you for why. Because even AMBOs and emergency services use them to stop the bleeding and pack wounds, puncture wounds.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you, I don't care what it looks like. If it's stopping my head from bleeding, I'm using it. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's the important stuff right there. So what we've got here, we've got antibacterial wipes, painkillers, gauze pads, sunscreen, medical gloves, instrument kit, bandages and band-aids, sling, burn gel, antibiotic ointment, antiseptic wipes. Aren't they the kind of the same thing? Okay.
What's that?
Antiseptic and antibacterial, they're kind of both the same thing.
Kind of the same thing,
Yeah,
but they are
thing.
labeled differently here in the U.S., so I get it.
First aid instructions and tourniquets. Yes.
Yeah. Or tourniquets, as they're put here.
Yeah, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Ray Mears bushcraft might be worth a look. Yes. Anything like that is a good idea. But yeah,
I think the other thing that's important to that is it does say medications, but I think you need to take an inventory of what your medications are or the people you're with, because the last thing you want to do is you got a year's supply of medicine sitting inside your medicine cabinet and you walk out the door because you forgot about it.
Yeah.
So
see, this is all in the stuff that we did in planning last week's episode.
Yeah.
Last week's episode was all about planning, and we talked about it there. So you need to go, if you've just watched this one for the very first time, go back to last week's, and we go through the top 10 things that you need to consider on when you're planning. Okay. So so you've got all of those things, all of burn gel, after sunscreens, all of those kinds of things. And the first aid kit. So but also if have feminine hygiene products. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you make your own. Have a packet of shop bought for the first aid kit of both. Ashley says I have a first aid kit on my allotment. You never know when you might need it.
That's an awesome idea.
If you don't have a first aid kit on your allotment, and my personal thought is moron, but that's just me, because the amount of injuries I've seen come off an allotment and no one's been able to do anything about it is ridiculous. When someone sticks a fork through their foot, that go on. So, and all sorts. Yes, prescription medications. That's what we were talking about, is making a list of prescription medications, making sure that there is a packet of each ready for whatever, that you have what you need. So then we're going to look at navigation tools. Now, what you want to have are paper maps. It's all very well having a GPS.
Oh, my battery died.
But if your battery dies or you have a grid down situation, then you're not going to get anything off the GPS whatsoever.
No.
You also have a defibrillator on site. Now, I've looked at them. I'm not going to lie. I've actually looked at them. The solar ones are about £800.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's what you're looking at. If you're looking at getting a solar-powered defibrillator, for whatever reason that you feel that is essential to your needs, it is about £800. I'm just letting you guys know. All right, that's what you're looking at. But that's an outdoor one. That is one that, can get rained on or whatever. So, so if you're looking for navigation things, always have a map of your area. Have a paper.
Well, and I think it's important.
Book.
Sorry.
Hello from Milk and Honey Hedges Farms is here.
I think it's important that you should have looked at your map before this kind of thing comes up, so that you're familiar with different areas, locations, directions to go. Make up A, B, and C routes just in case.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I wanted to throw that in.
Absolutely. If you are not used to using a paper map, get used to using a paper map. Over here in this country, the AA and RAC both put out reference maps for the whole of the country, and they're in book form, and you can take that. And some of them are, so one of them in particular is an A1 sized one. That would be a little bit big to take with you, but you can get smaller versions which are a little bit thicker. That's probably your best bet, to be honest. And then that's got all the maps that you could possibly need. If
well, and the other thing
about another type of map, the other maps that you can have are the Michelin maps that come out with the restaurant guides. So if you are a chef and you get the Michelin guide every year, you will notice that they have maps. They have been known to be the best maps on the planet.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. The restaurant guide and the restaurant, Michelin stars and all of that kind of stuff was actually a secondary thing to the map book itself. And Michelin maps have been widely recognized as the best maps in the world. So if you can get yourself a copy of that, do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also, the good thing is too, is if anything's happening and you need to document for yourself different changes in the roads or blocked roads or gates you can no longer get through, you can mark that on that map for future reference later on down the road if necessary.
Absolutely. The other thing is getting yourself a compass.
Yeah. Where is it?
Right. If you're not used to getting it, you don't have to spend a lot of money on a compass. A compass is a compass is a compass at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And you can get cheap ones that are only a couple of quid, and you can get really expensive ones, which are stupid money. But it's entirely up to you. And at the end of the day, if you're just having it for your go bag, then you don't want to be spending $50 on a all singing, all dancing compass.
Right.
When the one that you can pick up in the cheap shop is going to work just as well. Okay, Ashley, darling, take it easy.
Bye. Thank you.
Make sure you have a compass. Make sure you know how to use it. Okay. For those of you who aren't quite sure how to use it, the red tip on the arrow tends to mean north. So you turn the arrow to match where it's pointing north, so you know where north is. Okay.
Figure out north before you ever have to use it, please.
Yes, please know how to use your compass before you go out. This goes with all kinds of your equipment if you have not used them before. If you are not familiar with them, please do it. Try it at least once, maybe twice. Familiarize yourself with what you have. Okay. Now it says GPS tracking system, but like we said, if you can bring extra batteries and solar chargers and stuff, you can have a GPS tracking system, but adds extra stuff to carry that you may not want to.
Excuse me.
And GPS tracking is expensive. There's no cheap way around that, I'm afraid.
As long as you know your area, theoretically, a map and a compass are going to get you
pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So that brings us to multi-purpose tools. A mini shovel. You can get these, and they are foldable. They're great. Don't turn around to me and say you don't need a shovel. Okay, if you are
I don't need a shovel
in the wilderness for a few days, you are going to have to dig yourself a pit.
Yeah, because everybody should have a fire pit, right?
A fire pit and a poop pit.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, George, there she goes talking about the poop emoji again.
I know, the poop emoji again. Yeah. You need to have a shovel, people.
In all honesty, she's 100% spot on.
Yeah, you do. You need it. Okay.
And Tracy, yes, to put the Dutch oven in. You're correct.
Yes, absolutely.
I wouldn't have them side by side, though, my friend. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
No. Well, to be fair, if you go and have a look at some of these videos, there are videos on building smokeless fire pits and stuff like that.
Right.
They are great, and you won't do it by hand. Right. You'll need a shovel. I'm sorry, I would need a shovel, or you know, I'll just take his hands off and use them as claws.
I was going to say, you don't need a shovel. You just need me. You won't be me. It'll be me. It won't be you.
So really, you're saying in Tanny's bag there's a shovel. You're just making sure you're bringing Tanny along.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so the other one's a multi-tool. Multi-tool is like what we used to call a Swiss Army knife. So it's got all the things like a little screwdriver and a little, you know, little pair of scissors and a little file and all of the, you know, one of them. That's it.
What else has it got?
A knife.
Now, what else has it got? One of the most important things.
Pliers, scissors, screwdriver,
nope.
Knife.
Nope.
What?
I'm waiting for you guys to tell me what is actually the most important thing on that tool.
I don't know.
File.
Nope.
Well, I'm running out of options here, so.
Call the can opener.
Ah.
Oh, I hadn't got there yet. He is right.
I didn't know.
No, I hadn't got there yet.
Yeah.
I got some. Oh, you know what I got on mine, and I didn't even know it actually.
Information
There's a pair of scissors in here too.
Yeah.
I didn't know it had scissors in it actually.
Yeah.
And a saw.
Yeah. And a saw.
Yep.
See, I said to Tanny earlier, I said if there was one piece of equipment that you would want to take that isn't normally thought about on these things, what would it be? And he said a foldable saw.
Yeah. I agree with him.
Absolutely.
Or a line saw. You can do it that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, a little chainsaw saw. A line saw.
Kind you just
it's like a piece of wire. Yeah. So there's one of those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm looking at is that you're going to cut, if you've got some logs, big logs.
Yeah.
Instead of putting a massive log on a fire, you need to cut it down.
Yeah.
It's all right getting kindling. You'll have kindling. You'll have twigs. You'll have all that to start your fire.
I agree.
But you need logs to keep your fire going. To keep the mosquitoes off you.
Yeah.
To keep everything off you. To keep vermin away. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think another important thing is, and I don't know if it's on this list or not, but I don't want to forget about it. A hammer. Yeah. Yes, you can use a rock. I get all that, and you can do all that. But if you got the space in the room, a hammer becomes one of your best friends.
Do you know one of the things that you can actually do is just take a hammer head?
And that works too. Yes, I get that.
Okay, so that way you're not having to take the handle.
Yep.
Take the hammer head, find a branch, whittle it down. If you got your multi-tool, you've got a little knife on there. You can whittle it down and fit it, a branch on your hammer. Just take the head with you. It's one less thing.
I think now that I think about it more and more, Tenny's probably right.
Think about a hammer. What the hammer you use is only for fashion and everything else.
Yeah. But you could do the same with an axe head though. Yes. If you took an axe, like a little hatchet.
Yeah. How many people walk around with hatchets around them?
Well, see, I used to do it more.
It's either a hatchet or a saw. You take the pick. Well, to be honest, I quite agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
A hatchet would actually, because you could chop the wood up. But when you saw it in big branches down, you're not going to be sat there bashing that branch down for forever. Well, you can saw it down for half the time. But
like I was saying, you only need to take the head with you. You don't need to take
the handle
as well. You just take the head with you.
Trust me, I'm not trusting you with an axe. I've seen you with a knife.
He honestly doesn't know me that well at all. Tracy says, "He's Tanny." I think that was to do with the tin opener. He hasn't got enough left to use, love.
Yeah.
We don't need that kind of help.
I tell you what, this is one of the best tools in this world, right? And if you can get all of them, is the old World War II can openers.
Yes. The little foldable one. Yeah.
If you ever come across one of them on a car boot, buy it.
Honey, you can get them on Amazon in packs of 10.
I don't care.
For like $5.
Honey, get off Amazon. Just get off Amazon.
You can get them really, really cheap. They're the little foldy ones, you know, with the little... Actually, I'll tell you, UK Urban Prepper just put a video out of these. Just put out a video of these. Can openers that don't have mechanical things. Okay, so because it's all very well.
Can use them.
Yeah, anyone can use them, and the little ones are great.
Even disabled people.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you know how to do it,
it's simple, and he shows you how to use them as well. So go and check out his channel and have a look at that video because it's really worth it. Okay, the other thing is paracord.
Yes.
Because you never know. It's useful for everything. Okay, duct tape or gaffer tape, as it's known over here. Crowbar.
You call it gaffer tape? Did you say?
We call it gaffer tape because it's used by the gaffers.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So gaffers on
studios,
you know, in studios and on festival stages and stuff like that. They have the gaffer tape, so
got it.
Yeah. So yeah, it gets called gaffer tape over here, right? So yeah, then we have got duct tape, crowbar, folding saw. It's actually on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and a crowbar. Yeah. See, so the next thing they've got on here.
crowbar.
Yeah, crowbar. To use to break into shelter, hammer things, help you to pry up heavy things from the ground, and as a self-defense weapon. See, I don't know. I mean, I'm good. Don't get me wrong. You put the right weapon in my hand, and I'd be fine with that. But
it almost reminds me of what was that? The Walking Dead or whatever.
It reminds me of
whatever that movie was.
It's a little bit Walking Dead-y, isn't it? But I can understand the use of having a crowbar. It's just it's a very heavy thing to carry. I'm ninja. Tracy's ninja. Yes.
Okay. If I have something sitting in my arsenal, as we'll call it, because it's just a backpack that can be used as a weapon, I get it. Okay, I don't have an issue with it. Is the need of a crowbar more important than something else? That's what I'm going to be looking at.
That's what I would be looking at. It's
yes, it'll help in some situations, but I can do just as well in other situations without it. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm still with Tanny, though. The saw is going. I mean, there's no question about it.
To be honest, if you were going to take a crowbar, why not take an axe?
And that's where I'm at. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You would have to get more use out of the axe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like to you know what I mean? The axe would be good for chopping up wood and everything else. Or
it would also be good for...
You know what I mean? Oh, sorry.
I'm pretty sure he meant deer if you're hunting.
Yes. Yeah. Chop it down the wall.
That's what he meant. Yeah. Getting through the spines of
deer
animals. That's what he meant.
Yeah.
Will you stop trying to get me banned?
I'm not getting you banned. It's the people who are actually putting this down for all what you need to take.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one. You carrying basically imagine just carrying your house on your back.
Well, yeah, that's why you got to look at it. You got to look at it and decide what you're going to be doing, right? So defense. So okay. I don't want to go too heavily into this, but what I will say is this. If you've got a knife on you, got anything sharp and pointy on you, you've already got a weapon.
Yep.
Night, Annie. See you later, darling. You've already got a weapon. If you've got a foldable saw, you've already got a weapon. If you've got a hatchet, you've already got a weapon.
Got a crowbar.
If you got any of that, you've already got a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You got paracord, you've already got a weapon. If you got fishing line, you've already got a weapon. Okay.
I think the importance of what we're really trying to say is taking a weapon as a priority is not necessarily the important thing. If you listen to the things we've listed, there's a lot of these things in themselves that would be good weapons to use if necessary.
Absolutely. So. Look at what you have.
Dutch oven is a great example.
Yes. Dutch oven is a great example. You pick the lid up on one of those things and you can clock someone out for 3 days.
Yes.
No,
and then your 3 days is over and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
No, that's it. Absolutely. So, what we need to remember in the UK is this: pepper spray, tasers are illegal weapons.
Are they really?
They are illegal weapons. If you are found, you can't even get a license for them. All right. Where, you can't. And if you are found to have bought one from overseas and they catch it at customs, there is a 5-year mandatory sentence.
Yeah, I wouldn't be accepting that either.
So please be aware of that before you start getting clever. Okay.
Well, don't talk to me like I'm the one doing it.
I'm just telling the UK peeps. It's not as easy as you think. Do your research, please. Okay.
Note to self: do not send Blue or Tanny a taser or
pepper spray. No
tasers.
No tasers. No pepper sprays. Not risking the 5-year mandatory sentence. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I know.
Anyways.
Spoils mine too, So yeah. Anywho.
Just be protective, be prepared to defend yourself. Look at what's in your arsenal of items to bring. I'm using my words carefully.
Have a look in your local area because these kinds of courses are popping up all the time.
Yes.
Well, very well doing a self-defense course, but there are people out there who are doing self-defense course that are specifically meant for these kinds of situations where you are taught to use what is around you and not be reliant on the things that you don't have.
Could they teach me how to kick a zombie's booty?
Yeah. With a teacup.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so now we're looking at miscellaneous. Chargers. If you have any kind of electronics, you need the chargers, people.
And know what the charging length time is on each device.
Absolutely. You need all of that. Goggles. So that if you are in a situation where there might be limited eye vision.
Oh, I was thinking limited swimming possibilities.
No, we're not talking about swimming goggles. We're talking about goggles.
Okay.
So also that's actually probably a really good idea if you're using those fire starter type things to have goggles on when you start them off.
Yep.
Pretty important. A whistle. A whistle helps you stay in contact with people and get people to find you if that's what your wish is. Okay.
I wouldn't go out in the middle of the woods and start blowing it. You might attract a bear or a moose or something like that, So
No.
Toilet paper is a good idea too.
Yes. Sewing kit. Absolutely. Always have a sewing kit on hand. Copies of important documents. This means have it in a container that is waterproof, fireproof, all of that. We did show a example of a very good fireproof, waterproof, bomb-proof box last week. So please go back and watch that and you will be able to see it. Passports, titles and contracts. So if, your motor vehicles, loan agreements, deeds, all of those kinds of things you need to put in there. Birth certificates, citizenships papers.
Adoption paperwork
if you need it. All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All of it.
Social security cards. We have Social Security. I know you guys don't here, over there, but yeah.
If you're disabled and you need a blue badge, have the blue badge. Have all of the stuff that you might think It might be or it might not be. Just stick it in there anyway, okay?
It's paper. It's not going to kill anybody to carry a piece of paper. So
no, and if it is that big of a situation that everything has gone completely to the goodness,
isn't gonna matter.
It's gonna help you with kindling, at the very least.
There you go.
So, addresses and phone numbers of loved ones and important numbers to have in case, emergency numbers, etc. Family disaster and preparedness plan. So if you have one of those, which we did discuss actually doing one of those, that was part of what we talked about, the plan last week. That was what it was all about. Okay, so, go back and have a watch because it's all about putting the plan together. Emergency cash. It says keep a minimum of $500 with you in a bug-out bag to help pay for goods and services should the situation require it. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. You need to be careful over here at the moment because they are slowly changing it over to the King's Head on the notes, and the Queen's Head will no longer be legal tender once that has gone all the way through. They will declare a date at some point, and then it will no longer be legal tender. Okay. Let's have a look at chat really quickly. Tracy says toilet paper, absolutely. Heather says sounds like Blue has energy today. No, I'm on my third wave at this point. I'm almost point. Yeah. Let's put it this way: it's 6 o'clock in the evening. I've been up since 1. So yeah. Tracy goes to social security card, absolutely. Heather says I did a self-defense this winter. It was how to get up from being pinned to the ground. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Bug repellent or skin so soft. Mosquitoes bad in flood situation. Absolutely. Yeah, all of that stuff. Prescription drugs. If you are on meds of any description, you need to take those with you. Yep. And personally, I would take as many as you could carry.
No, because if something happens and the pharmacy's closed, how are you going to get your medicine?
Yeah, absolutely. Small mirror.
Here, let me put it to you this way a little better.
Yeah.
If you're putting a go bag together, odds are the pharmacy down the block is in the same situation you are and will not be dispensing medicine in a normal sense. So you need to make sure you have at least how far out you can get that medicine for.
Yeah. So. Tracy, a lot of snake bite medication actually needs a fridge.
Yes.
A lot of anti-venom medicine needs a fridge to keep it in. As much as it is a very sensible idea, and I really wish everyone could do it, not everyone's going to have like a car fridge or accessibility to refrigeration, and it goes off very, very quickly, unfortunately. But, it is a thought too if you live in that kind of area that has that kind of need.
I do. Pick me.
Well, I used to. Foot fungi stuff, yeast stuff, right? Yes. So
that's a good point. I never even thought of actually.
Yeah. So just make sure you got some talcum powder, or just make sure that you've got something like corn flour, because that works just as well.
Something.
Okay, and that's used for cooking with.
Yep.
So you're not taking extra thing. Mind you, if you have a baby on board, then you probably got talc anyway. So just saying, it's what you've got and what you haven't got. You know what I mean? Or if you've got the kids' stuff and they've got chalks, you can grind those up because it's chalk. So yeah, okay. Yeah, all of those are options. Right. So the bug out bag itself, because we also said small mirror after that, which is reflection is your friend, especially if you need to flag down help. Mirrors can be used to reflect light, serving as a signal to a passerby if required. Which is true. that you can do that. Or
it
you
is
can
true, but I'm reaching for the whistle or something. Yeah,
yeah,
never mind.
you've got the whistle or whatever, you know, whatever.
Also, a mirror, you can actually use it as a fire starter.
Yeah, mirror you can use as a fire starter, and the same with like a magnifying glass. So, which normally a compass comes with a magnifying glass on it. Just saying. Right, so the bug out bag itself needs to be thick, durable fabric. You can get reasonably decent ones, in fact, really, really decent ones from army surplus places or pretty much anywhere. If you want to spend and have the money to spend, which many of us probably don't, and it doesn't classify as prepping on a budget because it's a $500 purchase, you can get yourself a backpack that is also a Faraday cage, which is safe to put all your electronics in case of, you know, an EMP situation. But, you know, I mean, there's cheaper ways of dealing with all of that. And at some point we may go through those. So, yeah. You want to have padded hip straps. Having something just on your shoulders is liable to throw your shoulders out, especially if you're not used to carrying stuff. It's also liable to hurt your back badly. But if you've got hip straps, it's going to and chest straps actually help to bring it around so that you've got the weights carried in more than one place. Especially for those with back issues, that is really important to have it carried in several places, not just the top of your shoulder. Okay, water-resistant material is really kind of important. If it's raining because you're in a flooding situation, you don't want everything inside your bag to be getting soaking wet, so you want to have it waterproofed. You can get waterproofing if your bag isn't waterproof. You can actually get it, and you can actually make your bag waterproof itself with this stuff, and it's usually chuck in the washing machine and chuck the stuff in the washing machine and it will do it. So there is stuff that you can do for that, and it's called Scotch guarding. So if you want Scotch guarding for, you know, that kind of thing, here in the UK you can do that and it just goes straight into the washing machine.
Yeah,
right.
And we have Scotch guarding as well. So
yeah, you need a bag that's got separate pockets and compartments. So you're not trying to, you know, you don't get lost tipping yourself inside the bag trying to find something that's gone down the bottom. You want it, they say here, a roll top construction for expanded storage. Yes, no, maybe, perhaps.
I think the compartments are a good idea, but aside from that, it's
not really that necessary.
Yeah.
Airtight construction.
Depending.
To be honest, a bag is a bag is a bag. Yes. You can spend a lot of money on a bag.
Yes.
Or you can go to a car boot sale. You can go to a yard sale, garage sale, whatever you want to call it. Go to a second-hand shop and pick up a pretty decent backpack. Tarp for a tent, yeah, you can have those as well. They're a good idea to pop on. If that's what
I think it's
need.
a good idea, but it depended on your space and the amount of
depends on space. Depends on your tent.
Right.
If you've got family, you're probably not carrying a family tent.
No.
You know, but you probably can do a tarp. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, because trust me.
About it, a tarp is a lot lighter than a tent.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is.
And then it actually covers a proper tarp. If you've got a proper tarp, it will actually cover a large area.
Oh, yeah.
Which will keep you all dry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also keep the Dutch oven dry as well.
Yes, because we don't want that going rusty. Okay. Right, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to be putting together a checklist. All right, so if anyone wants a checklist for a go bag, it will be on Patreon. My Patreon is only £1 a month. Okay, it's not exactly hardship. On that, you get all my downloads of all my recipes, all my downloadable content, all of the transcripts from all of these, and you can pick them up for, you know,
either
all the way back that I started doing this. So, you know, they're all there. Okay. So yeah, I will have it on there, and then I will also, at the end of this series, I will be putting together a guide that has all of the transcripts, and it will be available on Etsy. Okay.
Or reach out to either one of us by email or whatever. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and if I know you and I like you, I might just send it to you anyway.
That's the questionable part, is whether she likes you or not.
Pick me on a good day. Okay? Pick me on a good day. So, yeah. So, Tony.
Oh, Blue.
Is there anything that you would add to your bag that we haven't mentioned?
The only thing I can think of, and it's one thing I read through, and we've talked about some of them. I think if I had the assumption that it was going to be longer than 3 days, just so I made sure I had it.
Yeah.
There's three things I would add. One is I would have a medicinal book of some sort, even basic medicinals, and an almanac for growing season information. As long as they're not huge, giant books. I mean, if they're like that and I got the space, I want to take those. The second thing is, you mentioned gaffer's tape or duct tape, but I think there's some other tapes you might want to consider. Medical tape, I think, is a good, strong holding tape. If in a situation, you're gonna want one that is water resistant and it really holds. And I think medical tape and gaffer's tape are the two better options out of what's out there. Okay.
Yeah.
To be prepared, medical steps should be already there.
Yeah,
it should be already.
I gotta sneeze. Hold on.
Okay. Don't throw your back out.
now I got to do it. It won't come out. One thing we didn't talk about, and there's different means of getting it, different means of using it. Back to the multi-use knife. Sometimes there's scissors in those, but you need to have scissors or something to cut with. Now, for a double use, consider medical scissors. So you could do medical stuff as well as normal stuff. But it's really on you.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with the scissors. I would agree with having a multi-use pair of kitchen scissors.
I agree.
Okay, because they will have a good one. It will be able to come apart in two pieces.
Right.
All right. Number one, it will have a fish scaler on it. It will have a bottle opener on it. It will have a jar opener on it. It will have a vegetable peeler on it. It will have a fish scaler on it. And it will be a pair of scissors. Okay. Right. So, it will do everything that you want it to do and more in one piece of equipment.
Right. I do have one additional that we have not discussed at all.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm sure you can understand this at some point in time, which I'm sure most people that are in with us can as well. Or a gel. We haven't talked about teeth medicinal things, and Oragel. I don't know if you guys have Oragel or not, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Like toothpaste?
No, it's if you have a bad tooth and it's bad pain, it's a gel you put on.
Okay, yeah.
It's got a numbing agent on it to ease the pain. Okay.
Yeah, we use clover oil over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think having just a small amount of it is a necessity for teeth issues if you have them.
I'll see if I can find them. Yeah, oral gel. Okay. That's a good. Yeah. Well, I didn't notice actually, and Heather has just brought it up. There wasn't any hygiene products on there.
And I thought that was odd, actually. That's why I didn't delve into it, because I just assumed it was going to be in there.
Yeah, see, we haven't.
Obviously, the UK don't take kindly to their hygiene.
Oh, well, no, UK
that's an American list. That's an American
list. No. You change governments, but not that drastic, okay?
You know what it is? Biden forgot to put it in.
Shut up. Stop it. Smack your ears, Jones. Right. So, I would very strongly suggest having some hygiene products there.
Of all kinds.
Of all kinds. Yeah. Hygiene for all kinds. So
I think the biggest thing.
Shampoo.
I think the biggest thing
a bar of soap will do your hair in a thing anyway. So just make sure you got bars of soap. I wouldn't worry about having the liquidy stuffs and all of that. It's just more bottles and crap to carry. So bars of soap are the easiest ones to carry, and just
small.
Yeah.
Does everything. Wash your clothes.
Yeah.
Clean you.
Yeah.
You can eat it.
I think one of the things to remember is don't forget every person that's in your family, because each of your family members are going to have different requirements, different needs, different whatever. You also, if you are more than yourself, or even two people, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, you need to consider what are the family needs as well.
Yes.
So, Tracy just said eyeglass repair kit, and I didn't even think about that.
Wow. Yeah, that's
and you can get those in little tiny cases. So
I haven't even seen them.
It's called duct tape.
Oh, you can get those on Amazon too, sister.
Oh, okay. Eyeglass. I'm learning things.
Tony, I'm going to fall out with you.
Okay, you can find those on Temu too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Tony.
He doesn't care really. It's not like I use his money to do it.
That's funny.
Extra shoelaces. I like that.
I like that too. I never thought it. I gotta go blow my nose. I'll be right back.
Okay. Right. Extra shoelaces. Tea tree oil. Yes. Tea tree oil, clove oil. Two very important ones to have. Actually, they're really, really, really good ones. Also, eucalyptus oil if you can get it. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Rena, how are you, darling? It's good to see you. So yeah, that's pretty much.
It also depends where you actually live.
It does depend on where you live. It depends on where you live and what it
like it's a mosquito.
Hello, Rena.
Yes.
You know what I mean? For sleeping at night time, it's light. It's compatible.
Yeah. If you live in a place that you need it, mosquito net. Tanny is saying
mosquito net. Well, if you're going down that road, you might want to think of malaria medication too.
No, I just think about sucking it up. You know what I mean? Get over it. It's man flu. We class it as.
Oh. Maybe some herbs or something to relax with, says Heather.
Oh.
I'm bringing the oregano. That's all I got to say.
I'm sure she means chamomile tea. Okay.
I was thinking basil or tarragon is where she was going with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Or thyme.
Yes. All of those.
Oh, spacing time.
Lavender
oil
can help with ticks and mosquitoes. Yes. Tracy
says back to the whiskey.
Back to the whiskey. Hey, this is not nice.
Oh,
okay. Heather is saying bring the broccoli.
Yes, she wasn't saying bring the oregano or the basil.
No, she's saying bring the broccoli.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We're good. We're good, and we don't have to go back to the.
Right.
We don't need to go back to the. Yeah. Just move on.
Yes. Please be aware, guys, that although CBD oil is available in the UK, anything containing THCs or the original plant is not supposed to be available, and you can get in a bit of trouble for it. I'm kind of hoping that those rules might be.
And here it is, state by state.
In the next couple of years, that would be great, but but yeah.
Here is state by state, but it's still federally illegal,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That's a whole nother conversation system.
Yes, but we don't need to go into that. Right. Yes.
Basil and oregano another time. Okay.
Yes. Broccoli another time.
Broccoli. Yes.
Yeah. So there we go. Probably when we talk about first aid. Right.
And you do realize you've been on here for almost 2 hours.
We're gonna have to do that, and we haven't even got to the getting home bags. We didn't get to them. We just
That'll be a next week, maybe.
Next week we will finish this week. How's that?
I would do that if I were you.
We talked about going. Now we're going to talk about getting home.
Returning.
Okay. So we're going to talk about returning. So we're going to talk about the getting home pack. So either in your car, or at work, so you can get yourself home in an emergency situation. Okay, so that's what we're going to.
You got to get home and pick all that broccoli.
You just killed him.
Right. Put my drink out.
Sorry, Danny.
Yeah.
It's warm in here.
Must be all that broccoli you're eating.
Okay, guys. We've held you hostage for long enough.
Yes.
We're going to let you go now.
Broccoli.
So I will be back here next week.
Yes.
Where we will talk about returning home rather than going somewhere. And you shut up! I'm gonna kick your ass.
He's sitting next door and he's just losing it. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Okay. Are we gonna be on his channel tonight? At what time?
Did you see Tracy's?
Yes, I have. I'm trying to get through the end.
We're doing our live giveaway for Jamming Up June. It'll be 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, all the way through the numbers and all the way to 4 a.m. BST.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're doing the giveaway. So get over to his channel tonight, wherever you are in the world. That's where we're going. That's where we're going to be. And I will be there. I will be there. Oh my God, I will be there.
Broccoli or not, you'll be there.
Broccoli or not, we will be there.
You should have broccoli tonight.
And next week we will be here.
Without me.
At 4:30 on Friday, talking about returning home. Okay, and till then, guys, stay safe. Look after each other. Look after yourselves. We love you. And just,
have a good week.
Have a great one. Love you. Bye.
Smell the broccoli.